Hey guys, welcome to this video tutorial about editable poly. In this video tutorial I will give you some tips that I've learned in the years that I've used 3ds Max to use editable poly to your advantage. It's really your bread and butter when you're working with 3ds Max, so it's really good to get into it. First off, when creating an object, like a box, you can convert it to an editable poly, and you can do this by right-clicking and then convert it to editable poly. We can go to the modifiers tab, right click, editable poly. Because I find this a bit slow and I use convert to editable poly a lot, I've actually added a shortcut so I can convert editable poly by pressing Ctrl Shift X, which is really convenient for me. You can edit shortcuts by going to customize user interface and then get your keyboard shortcuts, and if I go Ctrl X, you can see it's convert to editable polygon and convert to editable polygon. Here it is. So you can assign it if you like. You don't have to. Okay, that was the first tip of today. The second tip is about smooth groups. Smooth groups is the way for 3ds Max to calculate an illusion of a smooth surface between two faces. So for example, when I extrude a polygon, turn it a little to the left, you can see that these are two faces, and you can see the dividing line between them. And when we select them and we turn on smooth group 1, there are 32 that you can choose, you can see that 3ds Max is kind of calculating between the two faces how the light, especially the light, should pass between them so it looks like a smooth surface. We turn off realistic and turn off shade so you can see it better. So here's the jagged line and here is the smooth face that we've created. Now the objects that 3ds Max allows you to make, for example a cylinder or tube, are already smooth. So if you have a cylinder here, it's completely smooth and looks really round. Especially when you see that there are only 18 different sides here. Well, usually in game development you want the size a bit less, like 10 or something. So smooth groups become really important because it still looks like it's a round surface even though it isn't. Now when you extrude a cylinder, let me press Ctrl Shift X, you can see that the smooth group doesn't carry over to the second part of the extrusion. So first, this is our original model and it has smooth group 4, but 3ds Max doesn't apply the smooth groups to the new faces that we have created. So we have to apply them ourselves to show 3ds Max that this should look like one object. This might sound weird, but tip 3 is about selecting. And selecting is really important when you're working with editable poly because you're selecting every edge you want to edit, and sometimes when your model becomes a bit complicated you really have to see how you can select things efficiently. So for example, when I chamfer these edges and I just want to select this middle bowl, this part, what you want to do is see how can I select this piece without selecting everything, and how can I select things without clicking on every edge that's here. So what I would do is I would first rotate my viewport so I won't select the back edges over here, and then I'll select some. I selected too much, but because you're using Alt, or at least I'm using Alt for rotating your screen, Alt middle mouse button. Alt also works very well for deselecting edges. So when you press Alt, you can see a little minus sign at your cursor. Then you can press left mouse button, you can deselect these remaining edges that you didn't want to select. Our next tip is about the cut tool. The cut tool allows you to create new edges on other polygons in your object. So I've selected the cut tool. The shortcut is Alt C, and I can select right on an edge. You can see there's a different icon for that, so that I know that I'm on the edge. And now I can just left press and click, and now I've created a new polygon in this polygon on this line, which is actually pretty hard if you don't use the cut tool. And now I can use, for example, extrude to extrude this polygon out. And note that the things that I have cut are really a part of the model. So when I pull this out, you can see that these vertices are actually connected. So when you're working with editable poly, keep in mind that a polygon has only one side, and when you turn a polygon, you can see through it. In previous versions of 3ds Max, you can actually see through the model when you flip a polygon, so you would know that something's wrong with it. But in the new versions, you can't really see it, so you kind of have to render your scene every time you want to see if a face is actually facing the right direction. I'll let you know what I'm talking about here. I've selected this polygon, and I can press flip. Now you can see the smooth groups are already off. If you wouldn't have smooth groups, you wouldn't see it. So here it is. You can actually see by the shading of the selection that this face is actually turned inwards, but you can't really see it when you're just looking at the model. So when you press F9 and render your scene, so you can see there's a big black hole in your model, and you don't want that. So just check it now and again. You probably won't come across it very often because all the polygons are normalized the right way, but when you do, just select the face that you can look through and press flip. When you're creating an object, always check if your vertices are always well welded. What I mean by that is I have this object and it should have 12 vertices, but when I select it, Control I, you can see that I have 13 vertices. Now I've counted these vertices and I've created an extra vertex in this model, but when you have a larger model, you can always use the Weld tool to weld vertices that are really close by. When I select these vertices and I click Weld, you can see that before I had 13 and after that I had 12 vertices. That's because I created an extra vertex here, which you can't really see because it's really close together. So what I would do is when you're done with an object, or when you're about to unwrap your object, just select every vertex, click Weld, bring down the threshold so that things that you modeled really close by aren't snapping together. For example, in a face you have very detailed vertices around the eyes. Try to not weld them, but the vertices that are really close by, so you can use 0.001 for example. And now you can see that I still have 13 and after 12. So these are a few tips I wanted to offer about editable poly. If you have any questions, post comments below, or give me a message. If you have any tips about my video tutorials, please message me. And if you have any comments about next video tutorials you want to see, please message me and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks for watching.